It's Kevin Keatsman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. I'm your host, Kevin Keatsman, taking you up to the Vince Show at 11 o'clock, and we have a slew of topics today, many of them related to crime, which is a huge story on this Monday morning. As we speak, President Trump is signing executive orders in the Oval Office that he has just announced in almost every major city in America. He will be withholding federal funding to the cities that allow cashless bail. Now, I don't know this. I'm sure Pete or maybe even Mark or John know this. I would assume Kansas City, Missouri has a weak policy on this front, as Trump has just said that pretty much every major city run by a Democrat in America is about to get defunded unless they reinstitute strong bail policies and keep people in jail or make them come up with it and have a bail system. He's had it. Trump's tone today is, I've had it. He just went over some stats in D.C. They've made over 1,000 arrests in 12 days. They have broken up and cleaned up 49 homeless encampments. They found 2 missing children. He said the families were crying. They thought their children were lost forever and brought them home. They've arrested over 430 illegal aliens and sent them out of Washington, D.C. He now has proclaimed Washington, D.C. as one of the safest big cities in the world. You will not see any problems here. It's unbelievable what they've done in Washington, D.C. in a very short period of time. He's also signing an executive order today that will allow stronger enforcement of the laws in D.C., that when they apprehend someone, they will put them in a federal jail and hold them there for processing through the system and attempt to charge as many people as possible with federal crimes in Washington, D.C. Now, we know that criminals sometimes are stupid. Well, we know they're mostly stupid because the smart way to live your life is to go find a job, work hard, raise your family, follow all the rules, pay your taxes, and be happy. Criminals take shortcuts. They're dumb sometimes. Does that mean D.C. will be perfect? No. But Trump, loud and clear, is setting up a system that says this is not the place you want to do business if you're a bad guy. You don't. And we can point to what happened in Kansas City at 3:30 in the morning on Saturday night, right near the Power and Light District, in a parking lot where I've parked for years, going to sporting events down there right by the college basketball experience. 2 dead, 3 injured, including 1 juvenile. And this was, as my understanding, like 3:30 in the morning, woke a bunch of people up. Witnesses said we couldn't count all the shots. There must have been 100 of them. There's bullet marks and bullet holes all over the college basketball experience. And we have the 2 dead and the 3 injured. Now, if what's going on in D.C. were going on in Kansas City, that would not have happened. Does that mean you eliminate all crime everywhere? Does it mean you're moving it to different areas? I don't know. I'm not an expert in this field, but I don't think in D.C. right now that the gang-related shootings and the carjackings and the element of people that were preying on wealthier people who work in D.C., drive nicer cars through there in Georgetown and different places, it was like prey. It was like going fishing. You're going for the big whales. And so you had all these criminals coming in, finding the richest people and doing really bad things to them. And that's ended. It's just basically stopped in D.C. Now, are those criminals moving out and away from D.C.? Are they spreading out into Maryland or other places? I don't know. We'll have to see if the numbers go up in other spots. I don't think so. I think it's people who would live nearby. And a lot of this crime, this violence, I don't know what this event was Saturday night where it was a shootout in a parking lot at 3 in the morning. But there's a juvenile involved. It sounds gang-related to me. They said an argument started. Well, of course, these things are all about arguments. And it is the story of the day as we begin this week, crime in America. We have Kilmore Garcia, the Maryland man who was deported to the CCOT prison in his home country of El Salvador. And Democrats went crazy on this one, said, he's a Maryland father. This Maryland dad, you got to bring him back. Well, they oftentimes on the left make such a big deal out of something, trying to prove a point or make an example and convince Americans that we should feel terrible about this person, that it's really gotten worse. They have done more harm now. These people have really hurt Kilmore Garcia because now it appears ICE has detained him again, and he is going to be deported not sooner than 72 hours. So he's got a few days left to hang with his family. Tom Homan said he's absolutely getting deported, and it sounds like, hilariously, I'm sorry, this is hilarious, and this is on the Democrats. They sent him to his home country and said, let them deal with him, and now they're going to apparently send him to Uganda, a third-party country, and a place that he will not fit in, not have any relevant. It's just going to be terrible for him in Uganda. And Tom Homan has said, absolutely, we're going to deport him, but we don't want to break up the family. We encourage him to take his entire family with him to Uganda. He can take his girlfriend and those kids or whatever, or wife. This is a horrendous story. Homan says, and our government is saying, this man, Kilmar Garcia, made over 100 trips across the United States over the years as an illegal alien, shuttling migrants, drugs, and guns. His asylum claim, okay, his claim to be in the United States, you can't make this up. His asylum claim, and the reason they let him back out, his asylum claim was, you can't send me home because a rival gang wants to kill me because they think I killed one of the gang members' moms. And we said, oh, okay, stay here then and be safe. Folks, these policies, these things that are going on, we're seeing it everywhere. It's not just a parking lot in Kansas City, Missouri. It's not just Washington, D.C., but these things are solvable. Deterrence has always worked for crime. It's not 100%. Crime's never going down to zero. Okay, this isn't a Batman movie where, there's just one bad villain. If you get rid of the bad villain, all crime goes away. That's not what this is. People are going to do bad things to one another. Almost always, it's people who do bad things to someone they know. That is a far different crime than random, senseless acts of violence and theft against people just living their life and randomly picked off. That's the biggest problem in America. I don't know that that's what this was. It sounds like these people knew each other. They were arguing in Kansas City. But in D.C., it's exactly what it was. So much of the crime was just, we're targeting tourists, we're targeting politicians, we're targeting rich people that live here, we're targeting these folks, and we're stealing their BMWs and Mercedes, and that's just what we're doing. We'll do it at gunpoint. If an accident happens, we're not afraid to shoot them. I'll be back out on the street. That's been the policy. And Trump has changed all that in very quick order. I would ask, after this shooting in Kansas City this weekend, I know Governor Kehoe's busy on a lot of things, but can't the governor do the same thing in his cities? Gavin Newsom's done it in California. Can't Governor Kehoe activate the National Guard and put some people on the streets of Kansas City and St. Louis for a 30-day trial period like Trump is doing? Can you not call the Trump administration and say, how are you doing this? Tell me how to do this. I want to try it in Kansas City and St. Louis for 30 days, these last hot 30 days of summer that we have. Let's see if the numbers come down. Let's try it. Do you know most of these National Guards people don't have guns? They're just out there walking around patrolling. Tough guys patrolling the streets. As Trump said in his news conference today, these are the toughest people we have. He said they have to pass a toughness test to be on this job. He says there's some people that can get in and do work for us, but not this work. He said these are the toughest people we have, and they're on the street. And he said a couple of National Guardsmen walked up to a bunch of young teenage gang members, about 20 of them, and as they approached about 10 feet away, the kids all just ran. They just scattered and ran and disappeared. Sometimes it's as simple as it looks. You put enough people on this. This is not to say anything against the police. Most major cities now, police forces are 20, 30, 40% understaffed from where they're supposed to be. We know that, and there's good reason. I don't like saying this publicly because it gives Kansas City, Missouri police officers an idea. But it's like, why would you be a police officer in Kansas City, Missouri if you can move your family to Blue Springs and be a cop? They're hiring too. Think about it. Oh, I can go up to Parkville and get a house up there and move my family up there and be a police officer in Parkville. That sounds pretty good. It is an absolute calling. And unfortunately, the police officers in big cities are not backed up and armed the way that Trump is doing it in D.C. with the National Guard and all the support. By the way, it's the FBI, it's the DEA, it's everything. He's thrown in everything the feds have in Washington, D.C., and they have combed the streets, and they have had almost no crime in 12 days. They've gone 12 days without a murder. in D.C. That's never happened since they've kept records. Every day is another day without one. Now, there's probably going to be a domestic murder at some point here shortly, but that's not what most of the murders are. A lot of them in Kansas City, as we see, are teenagers and 20-somethings, gang-related shootings, killing each other. And if you keep them off the streets, if you patrol the streets, and these 15-year-olds with guns aren't out walking around at 3 in the morning, we're going to be a safer community. And some 15-year-old that's tied up in some terrible gang situation right now, feeling like that's what they have to do to get by, and they're out there at 3 in the morning, if they're no longer doing that, maybe, just maybe, they find a better way and go on to an incredibly productive or successful life. The outcomes here are part of the process too. If we get more of these young people off the streets doing bad things, maybe they'll be doing good things instead. Maybe they'll see the light. I'm not some pie-in-the-sky guy that thinks you can clean everybody up and they're all going to be good people, but there'll be some stories. There'll be some stories of kids that are not out there at 3 in the morning walking around with a couple of guns on their hips looking for trouble, and the outcomes will be positive. Crime is in focus this week. It's really quite amazing. Kilmore Garcia going to Uganda if they get their way, and it sounds like they will. Once they made him the poster child for all illegal immigration criminals, man, they put a target on this guy's back. You know that Tom Homan and Kristi Noem, this is the one they want. They want to send him to Uganda. We're not sending you home. You can't stay here. And if you want to move your whole family to Uganda, go ahead. We can call you Maryland man even if you're living in Uganda. Uncanceled is underway. If you'd like to join us, give us a phone call. We'll take your calls today. We've got a lot of great topics, including, our first picks segment on Friday. Your humble host and Mark Van Sickle nailed their picks. If you were listening to our free selections that we're having on Fridays and you like football, you cost yourself some money this weekend if you weren't listening to us. I'm only saying that because it's week 1 and we crushed it, but that doesn't really mean anything. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm a perfect prognosticator. I know Mark's record last year was fantastic in college football, so we're going to have some fun with that. We'll get into that a little bit. Travis Kelce's car arriving at the premiere of The Kingdom at the Kauffman Center turned heads, to say the least. You don't see many of those in Kansas City. And we'll take your phone calls as well. A lot going on. Uncanceled is underway. This is KCMO Talk Radio. Hey, welcome back to the show. If you'd like to join us, the phone lines are open. Give me a shout. 816-408-7957. That's 408-7957. If you would like to join us on the show, give me a holler. We'd love to hear from you on any topic that is on your mind. We are on it as well. There's been an awful lot of discussion the past week about a restaurant and a brand and something a lot of people love, including my mom and my sister and her husband, and they go there frequently, and I've been there with them many times, a place called Cracker Barrel. You're familiar with Cracker Barrel, and you know the story now probably of the CEO changing the logo, taking the old white guy in the rocking chair off the logo and turning it around and sort of modernizing or updating inside the restaurants. People have lost their minds on it. I largely think this story has been overblown. It isn't that they don't serve pancakes or grits anymore. Okay, they didn't turn it into some French bistro, for crying out loud. They tried to upgrade but most of them have. Pizza Hut used to have freestanding restaurants that looked like a hut, and the International House of Pancakes used to have the big, tall, sloped roof, but now they're just called IHOP. Rebranding is not in any way controversial for many brands that need something like that. They didn't change their name here. I'm not defending her. It sounds like the lady who did this is pretty woke, and a lot of their customers aren't going to like this, and they're seeing a backlash, and they've lost 12% of their market cap on their stock share. But I bring this up because let's watch and see what happens. Cracker Barrel versus Camping World. Camping World is a giant RV center. It's coast to coast. And their CEO is a man named Mark Lemonis, and he's an immigrant. And he says the flags that fly at Camping World, if you've ever been by one of these places, they're the largest flags in America. They're massive. They are huge USA flags. He says they are never coming down, and he will use the full force and might of his company to fight every legal challenge in court of jurisdictions where Camping World has properties, and they're trying to get him to take the flags down. They say they're unsafe, which I don't even understand. And in some places, they say they don't have proper permits or it's against the law in the municipality. This started in California, but it's happened in North Carolina. This is, as you would imagine, liberals' minds bending over this giant flag that they see every day. How in the world did we get to a place in this country where a third or more of the people don't like the flag and don't like the country they're in? If you don't like the country you're in, why wouldn't you leave and go to the country you think, if it's that important to you, that you're going to run around and try to get Camping World to take their flag down? Listen to this guy's story, Mark Lemonis, the CEO. He says it's never coming down. It is my love letter to my country as an immigrant. This man immigrated to America. He says, I worked my ass off to make a living. This is my appreciation. He worked his way all the way up to CEO of Camping World. And he says, there is no way you're making me take my American flag down here. I sacrificed and sweated and worked, and I've been a grinder, and I've achieved, and I've made it, and I love my company, and I love my country even more. And this flag is going to fly, and I'm taking on all comers. Now, I don't know how many liberals buy RVs, but I'm sure it's a significant amount of people. You don't want to lose a third of your business. Let's say it's that. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's 20%, 25%. But you don't want to lose that, and I don't think he intends. If it in any way becomes controversial for a nationwide company to have a CEO stand up and say, I think this is going to get Trump's attention, by the way. There could be an executive order on flag flying. Trump's livid with desecration of the American flag. He is beside himself, and there's a lot of things you can't do because of the Constitution, which is fine. We understand it. You can burn the flag. You can do this. You can do that. I wonder if Trump will see this story and maybe make more of it than it is, get Camping World a lot of great free publicity, but I would like to meet Mark Lemonis. He sounds like a great American, exactly the kind of immigrant that we want. Come here, love your country, work your tail off, do right by other people and fellow citizens. When you become a naturalized citizen, it's the greatest day of your life. I saw a guy on Fox News this weekend was talking about he went to a naturalization ceremony. He said, we have all this mayhem and stuff going on with illegal aliens and deportation. He said, I just needed to remember how great we were. He said, you can go to a public naturalization ceremony. You can just walk right in as a citizen, sign in, and sit in the back of the room and watch it. He said, you will never feel better about America than watching the people that are doing this legally and how emotional they are with their families when they finally get sworn in and sign those papers and they celebrate. This is not graduation, junior high or high school graduation. It's not commencement at a university. No. This is all those things times 10. And people and families get so excited for the possibilities, not just for their life and their future, but for their children and their children's children. That's what it's all about. And the people that are still doing it legally, we cherish. Mark Lemonis is one of those at Camping World. And you couldn't have more of a contrast of two companies in this past week. Cracker Barrel under fire for the changes they're making, clearly moving away from the stereotypic MAGA Southern voter, whatever it may be, into something else, and Camping World. And a guy literally planting his flag and saying, hell no, I am not taking this down. You can't make me. This is my love letter to my country as an immigrant. Man, that's a great story. 408-7957. If you'd like to join us on Uncanceled, that's 408-7957. Uncanceled continues on KCMO Talk Radio. Great to be with you on this Monday morning. Thanks for joining us here on KCMO Talk Radio. If you'd like to be part of the program, give me a shout right now at 913-408-7957. That's 913-408-7957. Hit me up, and we'll get you right on the air. I noticed there is a lot going on in Florida with illegal alien truckers. This was the big story last week, and this one catches your attention because the horrific accident that took place where the car slammed into the trailer part of the tractor-trailer truck and basically decapitated 3 people inside. Driving the truck was an illegal alien who was given a driver's license in California, despite the fact that Harjinder Singh couldn't read the signs. He essentially couldn't pass the test. Doesn't speak English, couldn't read the signs, and his skills tests weren't very good either, but they gave him a license, and now he's driving big rigs. So we know that story and we know what happened. They went and got him back. They brought him back to Florida. And now Florida is working hard on, well, they're urging lawmakers to crack down on illegal drivers. And they've basically said if you got a license in New Jersey or California or some other blue state, don't even think about driving your truck here. If you come into our state and we catch you for any reason, you're going to jail. You're illegal in our jurisdiction and we're going to lock you up. So we appreciate that Florida is taking the lead on this. I mentioned last week a couple of times we have some serious blind spots in this country today, and this was one of them. How we got to some of these policies and these things that are happening, and we don't notice until something horrific like this happens, is astounding to me. But it did happen, and I think the saddest part of all this is there's now an online position for the driver, Singh, the man who committed the crime, who broke the law in many ways, leading to 3 deaths. 2.5 million people have signed an online petition urging the state of Florida to go lenient on Singh and not put him away for life. They like literally want leniency. It's amazing some of the things that are happening. There's a British tech company. No, it's not. He's not British. He's American. There's a tech company CEO on the East Coast. I think maybe this was in South Carolina. And he's in a dispute with an Uber driver. And there's a security camera video. This is plain as day. It almost looks like a Hollywood movie. It was staged so perfectly. And the Uber driver walks up to the passenger behind the car, and the man is holding his dog. I don't know if he rode in the car or what the issue was, but he's holding a dog, so maybe the dog was the issue. Like, you can't take the dog in the car. I don't know the circumstances of why the man and the Uber driver were having a discussion, but they were not exactly face-to-face, but only about a foot apart, and you can tell they're talking, and it's a fairly serious conversation, and there's another person 10 feet away, and the Uber driver just unloads on this man who is smaller, holding the dog, and punches him a couple times and just drops him. He falls cold to the ground, slams his head on the ground, gets a concussion. This man is a biotech CEO of a company, and he is suing Uber because the driver that punched him is an illegal alien. Now, I'm all in on this. Let's keep going. This driver is from Russia, and he's here illegally, and according to the lawsuit, driving unlawfully. I'm going to guess that South Carolina does not issue driver's licenses to illegal aliens. That's just a hunch, but that's indeed where this took place. So it seems like the lawsuit's filed in the right place against Uber, and that seems, look, the man has something coming to him. I don't care what you said. This is another one of those unprovoked things. He didn't take a swing at the guy. He never pushed him. He's standing there holding his dog and just gets dropped. That's a serious crime. You can kill a person doing that. There was like a live Rumble boxing event this weekend. I don't know how these things work. They pop up on YouTube, TV and stuff. People put on fight night events and just stream them live. And I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but the one fighter, it was supposed to be fake. It was like wrestling. You're supposed to drop him and then act like you're hitting him until the match is over. And he gets the guy on the ground. He slams him onto the ground and almost knocks him out. So it was a real slam, and then just pummels him with like 22 fists to the face before anybody came in and stopped it. He easily could have killed that guy. They're talking about assault charges there. Now, that incident has nothing to do with illegal aliens, but the point is, we saw 2 boxers 3 weeks ago in Japan on the same fight card die in the ring. You punch somebody, they go down, you can kill them. This should be a very serious crime. This Uber driver is illegal. He needs to be deported immediately. He just needs to be deported immediately. We've got to get a process where we take these people and they're just flat gone. We've got you on video. You're here illegally to begin with. You don't need a conviction. You've overstayed your visa, whatever. Okay, you're gone. You're gone. If you are illegal, if you're here illegally, you're gone. We see you do something like this, you're just out of here. To me, the Constitution cannot protect someone like that. There is no due process as far as I'm concerned. You came in illegally, or you got a work visa and you've overstayed it. That's against the law, right? I mean, what's your fine if your license and registration expires on your car and you get pulled over speeding? They're going to throw the book at you. You're going to get hammered with fines. It's going to be on your record forever. I mean, it's like a crime. You didn't pay your taxes, You don't have insurance. It's a crime. Well, if you're an illegal alien doing that, you got to go home. Sorry. Me and you, citizens, okay, we get fined. It stinks. It's going to be a big fine. And you've got a problem on your hands. But if you're illegal, you just got to go on all these things. And I don't know how we just keep letting these things happen. So I'd love to see some action for the Uber suit as well. I think Uber, just as a company, said, we got to do. They're clearly not doing background checks well enough with their drivers. They're just not. It can't. And if it's Uber's policy to hire illegal alien drivers, then maybe we shouldn't be using Uber. We should find another company to use. That seems unbelievable to me that they'd be all the way okay with that. But maybe they are okay with that. The Chiefs Kingdom docuseries on ESPN, I call it a docuseries. It's a television show. It's not a documentary. No, it's not. It's not journalism. It's good. It's fun. If you're a Chiefs fan, you're going to love it. There's all kinds of good stuff in there. You're going to love it. And they showed up for they like to do a red carpet premiere, and they did this at the Kauffman Center. And Travis Kelce looked great, and he messed around a little bit with Andy Reid while Andy was getting interviewed. And it's before the season. Everybody's in a good mood. It looks great. The Chiefs on Friday night were the ones for the Chiefs on Friday night were spectacular. I didn't, because it's been so many days, I don't want to spend a lot of time on sports today, but we'll get to the KU and K-State games in our last segment because those were a tale of two teams, essentially. But the Chiefs on Friday night, it was clear that it was important to Andy Reid and the Chiefs for the ones to go out and perform, and they did. They did so very, very well on offense and defense, and it's interesting that it actually meant something to the team that's been to 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls and won 3 of them. And other teams treat these games like they don't matter. But the Chiefs did, and I thought that was impressive, and they were impressive. So they got to have a little fun at this red carpet event. And Travis Kelce showed up in a $400,000 Rolls Royce. And I have no problem with that. That is maybe the least Kansas City or New Heights, Cleveland thing I've ever seen. But he wears it. He got it. He looks – these young dudes like this, rich guys – they wear a suit with like a T-shirt and sneakers, and they just look great doing it. They just look great. They all look great. Good for the Chiefs, having a little fun before the season starts. Mark, you, I assume, watched the Chiefs game, and you nailed your picks over the weekend. We started the season pretty well, my friend. What did you make of the football weekend?
I thought it was a lot of fun. Week 0, I mean, I felt bad for the Wildcats. That was my lone miss. I should have followed you on that one, but Hawaii with that walk-off field goal to win me my -2.5. That was so much fun, especially since the kicker from Japan learned how to kick on YouTube. That was absolutely crazy.
Self-taught by watching videos, winds up with a college scholarship, correct?
That's right.
That's incredible. So he obviously knew that he had the leg for it. He just had to learn the technique. So that's really cool. So if you missed it on Friday, we do a pick segment. We're each going to give you our favorite pick of the week. Now, it was slim pickings this week because there's only 5 games. My lock of the week was KU, and that hit easily. Mark's was Hawaii, and that hit on the game-winning field goal. So if you're taking our picks, we're each 1-0 so far. Good start, my friend. Way to go.
Yes, I just had a guy from the text line text in. He put $25 on our picks parlayed and won $118.50.
Yes, he did.
Let's go.
Let's go. I love it, man. That's fantastic. The bad part of week 0 in football was Kansas State. There's no way to sugarcoat what they did. They took $3.5 million to sell out a home game, go all the way to Dublin, watch your offensive coordinator run the ball with a running back named Joe Jackson on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 and get stopped with no creativity, no play for anything, no ingenuity, and play in the rain and soak the fans. And then after you lose the game, because you essentially turned it over 5 times. K-State had 2 regular turnovers, and they failed on 4th down 3 times. That's 5 times they just handed the ball to Iowa State. We mentioned it last week. Iowa State plays clean football. K-State plays dirty football. I don't mean mean dirty. I mean it's just not clean football. 6 penalties to 1. You're not going to beat Iowa State in a close game. Iowa State's going to beat you. And Matt Campbell had a play on 4th down every single time. He had a creative play that got the 4th down. They were perfect on the day on 4th downs. Kansas State was not. But the worst part, Mark, was after the game when Avery Johnson, who had a fine game at quarterback, they still don't use him enough. He had all 3 touchdowns for K-State. He's an outstanding player. His father and his brother in the streets of Dublin got into a street fight and dropped a guy onto the ground, and it ended pretty calmly, I guess, and they've apologized for it. But pretty much an indication of what happened for Kansas State going to Ireland. It was an absolute crap show for them.
Yeah, it was bad luck. Bad luck.
All of it was bad luck. After the game certainly was a bad look. The game was a bad look too. So a lesson learned, I guess. I don't understand selling the home game and going to Ireland. See, this is the opposite of the Chiefs. The Chiefs are starting in Brazil a week from Friday, but that's the Chargers' home game. That's when you take the international game, when it's somebody else's game. Iowa State says, yes, we would rather play you in Dublin than Manhattan. Yes, that's easy. That's an easy call. And so for Iowa State, it worked out fine. For Kansas State, they made some money to overpay their basketball coach, which is a big thing. They still owe him $19 million and can't fire him. So maybe they had to take this game and lose it so they can keep Jerome Tang and be able to pay the $19 million that they owe him when they really could use a new coach. But, hey, it's just little things in college athletics like that. It's, it's all pro athletics now. And the coaches will complain. This is my favorite part about college athletics. They're all complaining now. Oh, the media is so hard on us. They're so tough. You're pro sports. You got a $50 million contract. Your quarterback's making $3 million. No, sorry, it's over. No kid gloves anymore. This isn't school sports. It's professional sports. And when you do dumb things and bad things happen, you get called out for it. And that happened to Kansas State this weekend. Terrible start to their season.
I've seen the cars they drive.
Right. Yes, good for them. A lot nicer than ours. I'm certain of that. Uncanceled continues on KCMO Talk Radio. When we come back, what the heck happened on a British Airways flight from California to London? Why was a flight attendant naked in the lavatory? That's next. Donald Trump said over the weekend that he thinks dirty, crooked media like ABC and NBC should be paying millions of dollars to the federal government for rights fees for licensing. That 97% of their stories are negative toward Republicans and Trump. He said, really, they should lose their license for bias. But if not, we should charge them millions of dollars just to have the right to have a broadcast license. Go get it, man. Go get it. Base it on revenue of companies. That'd be the way to do it, the licensing fees. Go get ABC and NBC. You've already gotten into their hide for millions to this point, so I'm not opposed to something like that. If that's the way he wants to say, listen, you got to be more fair than this, I totally understand it. Tell me what happened on a British Airways flight recently from California to London that's getting ready to take off, and they go through these safety protocols. And you know how the flight attendants do the safety check and all that stuff beforehand. One of the flight attendants is missing. So they don't really think anything of it. Okay, maybe he's in the bathroom, whatever. Well, he is in the bathroom. He's in the lavatory. And then they don't see him, and then the plane takes off, I guess, the whole deal. And they eventually go to the lavatory, and this 41-year-old flight attendant by the name of Hayden Pentecost is in the lavatory of the British. This is a big jumbo jetliner, passed out naked. And they reach him, and he doesn't know why or how because he's out of it. Turns out he's a meth addict. And he went in and took his crystal meth or whatever on the job to get high for the flight and passes out naked in the bathroom.
Rough look.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I mean, I assume immediate termination on something like that. And it's kind of scary, but we are just talking about a flight attendant, not a pilot. Did you see last week I think they charged or sentenced the guy that in January, the pilot for Southwest, that they apprehended at the gate and made him blow in a breathalyzer. And he said he'd had a couple of beers, and he was like, I don't think he was over the legal limit to drive, like it was .06 or something. But they're like, yeah, you can't go get in the cockpit right now and fly this jet. It's a small bar.
It makes you nervous.
Yes, it's a low bar. We want to make sure our pilots haven't been drinking. Doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Did you see what happened to the Royals Quad City, Iowa affiliate this weekend, Mark?
I did not, but I like that team.
Okay. Is it the River Bandits?
Yes, the River Bandits. Great stadium.
Yeah, that's a great mascot, too, River Bandits. The Bat Boy got ejected.
What?
Yeah. The manager had already been kicked out. A player from the dugout had already been kicked out. And the Bat Boy goes, he's got, you know how they run out and they give balls to the umpire?
Mm-hmm.
He goes out, he's got 3 in his right hand, 2 in his left hand. He puts the 3 in his right hand in the face mask of the umpire, which is traditional, and then the other 2 in his left hand, and he goes out and does this, and the umpire's like, what are you doing? He didn't call for balls to come out there. He's like, what are you doing? And the bat boy said, what the F are you doing? These calls are terrible. He just started in on him about the calls he was making. Gone. Just launched the bat boy right then and there.
That's incredible.
It's fantastic. Yeah. I like stories like that. He's defending his players. I think that's kind of fun. The Royals got a huge win yesterday. You cannot overestimate what that meant to not get swept by Detroit, which clearly is a better team than the Royals, but let's just find a way to sneak in as the last wild card somehow and have something to write home about. They go on to Chicago now for 3. The White Sox, Mark, the Royals have beaten them 14 straight at Kauffman Stadium. This is a road series. Will we take 2 out of 3, or is it time to get greedy?
I think they take 2 out of 3, but you definitely got to get greedy and got to get the sweep here because then Detroit's coming to town for 3. So got to get 3 here in Chicago, in my opinion.
I was a little surprised the way the Royals won on Sunday. They built a big lead, 6-1, then they lost it, down 7-6. They wound up scoring 10 runs in this game. I like to see the bats. Vinny Pasquantino right now is on one of the all-time Royals heaters. I mean, you just expect the guy to homer every time he comes up. He's hot, man.
It's crazy.
He is living his best life. They're winning some games, and things are certainly looking better for the Royals than they have to this point. So we love that. A man in Alabama, Mark, could you handle this? He caught a record swordfish, 550 pounds, while sleeping. How did he do that?
I'm not sure. I would have fallen on the water, though, if I'm trying to catch something that big.
Okay. So they go out on their boat. It's a guy's trip. It's an overnight trip. They're going to go deep sea fishing. There's 6 dudes on a big boat off the coast of Alabama. They caught a whole bunch of stuff during the day, and then they use some of the things they caught as prey at night while they sleep. They go down in the cabin. They sleep. At 4 a.m., they hear this reel going zzz. So Robert Fritz wakes up and fights the swordfish for 4.5 hours. 550 pounds. The previous record was 448.
That's insane.
He beat the record by 102 pounds. Unbelievable. And you think you're a fisherman. The Vince Show's coming up next. Thanks for listening to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. I'm Kevin Keatsman. Have a great day, everyone.